Hello, Heart's Home family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome, guys. So yesterday we were talking about what's really going on with the Schumann resonance, and we're going to continue on that and give a little depth. Please do make sure you're subscribed with that little bell clicked over here to all three channels. And again, Evolutionary is the original, EEARTS, it came out 2019, and then Heart's Home just came out this year. And you can quick link to all of them right here from this corner, right there. Let me make sure that we are recording. Okay, so what is happening? Look at this right here. Watch. The sun sneezed.
Achoo. There we go.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a follow-up right after it. So we have an X-class flare. And this one looks to be accompanied by and it was an X 1.1. So as far as the X-class goes, this is just basically getting into X-class. X-class is, your highest level of flares as we go. And, we understand that they can interfere with technology, and what is not completely understood by the masses is that they really affect our consciousness and our bodies.
That's really huge. That part where they affect our consciousness and our bodies, and they get us going in a direction where we can absolutely evolve to a very high degree. And they're really busy making sure we're wearing hats and sunscreen and stay out of the sun, because it really does make a difference where your consciousness is going. And we are all kind of getting a tap to be woken up to varying degrees. Some people might not be awake at all, but they're still going to get a knock at the door. Something is going to go on in their lives, and they're going to realize, hey, wow, things are not quite exactly as I thought they were, and they're going to be able to peek through the veil just a little bit. Many of you can see clearly through that veil. You know exactly what's going on. And this can make certain controllers quite fearful, but, we just have to kind of face that fear and walk right through it, because you really cannot stop evolution. You can't stop it. It's like trying to stop grass from growing. It's not going to happen. If that grass wants to grow, it's going to find a way. It's going to break through the concrete. It's going to grow. Something's going to grow up in the desert if it wants to. It's going to find a way to grow. And today was really curious because Mike and I, we got really exhausted. So we kind of laid down for a nap, and I started getting visions of the spiral of the all, and that spiral getting just a little bit tighter. And when that spiral gets just a little bit tighter, what happens is people are being moved into alignment a little bit more. And sometimes that can be difficult for people. Sometimes that can be wonderful. But certain things you want to watch for, and we've seen it with other people who are, they're awake, but they're not awake. They're unaware, going through an alignment phase. Well, mistakes can happen. Things in your life that you have let go and you have not paid close enough attention to, those things can, things can go wrong, and you're going to have to give certain things attention. So it's kind of, and Saturn's in retrograde too. We can't forget that. So now is a great time to reflect, see how we've done, and see how we are going to do things moving forward. So that's what I got so far on this spiral, and it's getting a little bit tighter. So be very forgiving with yourself right now.
Yeah, when as she's talking, it's hitting me all the Aboriginal art that we have seen all over the whole globe that depicts spirals. It's a universal theme, but what we have to realize is that we are again told that certain beings like Denisovans and our long lost ancestors, Neanderthals and the like, that we're always getting this impression from science that they were very, very unevolved, backward, Stone Age, that whole thing. What we don't understand, again, in mass, is that these beings had perceptive abilities far beyond our own. Far beyond our own. In fact, you could equate it to some of our most gifted yogis and adepts here in the modern age. Would just be kind of typical when you talk about the perceptive ability and the knowing. And now this is different, like I was going to talk about before we went into all this. Knowing against a belief system, and so I, try to read as many comments as possible. And people were saying, well, this is just their belief system. There was like one comment, this is just their belief system. Well, it's not really a belief system. This is what we know. Now we put it out there for you. And if you find that it resonates with you, then maybe it becomes a belief system for you. And then when you experience it, it's experience something that we're talking about as far as the nature of reality and all that there is. Once you experience it firsthand, then it's something you know. It's a knowing. It's a gnosis. And, this is again it. Whenever we haven't experienced for ourselves and we're going off of what somebody else says, then yeah, it's a belief system. But once you experience something for yourself and you know it, like, if you saw a Bigfoot and you saw that Bigfoot and you weren't drinking, you weren't doing any sort of,
Anything.
illegal or illegal substance, you saw it, you saw it. For you, Bigfoot exists. It's not your belief that Bigfoot exists. You saw Bigfoot or had an interaction. So, again, it's not a belief system for you. Now, you tell your friend, and your friend's going to kind of either resonate or not. Your friend might develop the belief that Bigfoot exists, but
Mm-hmm. And resonating is a really good thing too, but you can see the flaw in that. If you resonate with something because someone said it, it's just that. It's the resonating part because someone told you. And we have a lot of belief systems out there that sound really, really good, but are they true? Are they true? Really, we prefer people to have the experience for themselves because that is rock solid. You can trust that. And no, there's really not too much wrong when something resonates with you. Just remember that you might not be being told the whole truth from certain belief systems. So you definitely want to get all the information you can for yourself, by yourself, so you can stand on that truth like a solid rock.
Yeah, absolutely. So here you have again, to recap, an X-Class 1.1 flare. It came out of the sunspot region 3341. As you can see, 3333 is in the red. And again, that's a master number. And, that's a master number when it comes to manifestation. And we are in the times of rapid change and rapid manifestation of a new reality that is going to take hold. It is going to take hold, because what's happening here at this level, this is at the creator level. This is at, the level of, if you want to view it as the programmer of the matrix of this universe that we find ourselves in. This is at the highest level, what's going on right now. And again, it is a cycle, and we've talked about these cycles. There are the Yuga cycles, and the cycles of the Yuga are something that we go through on a regular basis. We're always rolling through these, and they're periods of ascension and then basically descension. It's going up the ladder and then coming back down the ladder, and it is a natural part of this reality. Now, the system that's in play on the planet is not really a natural system. So that is something separate from the natural system of the Yugas that was programmed, you could say, into this reality. And again, when we look at the stars, the astrology is part of the programming again. And again, Western astrology doesn't take into account the tilt of the Earth and the precession of the equinoxes from that tilted aspect of it. It's the tilt of the Earth at 23.5 degrees that gives us really our seasons. It also gives us our rough weather. And, there was a time when that tilt wasn't there, but that's another story that we have talked about. We have not put this together. This is not ours. It comes from yogananda.com. It was given to us by Sri Yuga, the guru of Yogananda. And, this is basically you looking at the ascending and descending cycles. And the appropriate dates that he came up with, which, again, is debatable, but they do feel pretty accurate. So, I mean, we're truly, actually, believe it or not, out of the Kali Yuga. When we're in the Kali Yuga, we are in, well, we're kind of at the mercy of the dark forces, so to speak, and we really have almost no truth available to guide us. And then when we go into the Bronze Age is one of a lot of different action, a lot of activity, a lot of interaction with many different beings will happen in the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age is really when you're talking about most of your myths and legends, it's coming from this age. This is a very interesting age, and it's an age in which we will encounter so many different mythological beings. It's right at our doorstep. We are on the brink of extremely exciting times. And as we look at the Schumann resonance today, the power 152, so it's still very, very high. And of course, the control system is in damage control, and they want to, of course, mitigate the knowledge that the creator of, again, this universe, this matrix, this reality is sending signals through that are enabling all of us to rise up and to understand the bigger picture. It's reconnecting DNA. It's lighting the dark, and it's changing perception.
It's such an extremely important time to learn to go within, find that spiritual practice, and bring yourself some understanding so that you can also grow, so that you can also expand. If you find yourself in this world and things just are not lining up right, if things don't quite feel right, and you don't think they're fair, it's time to look elsewhere for understanding. And really, you should find that within, but you can go through other sources to see what might work for you, because there's a whole lot of different things when you're dealing with spirituality. There's a gazillion different modalities out there that can be utilized, and it's up to you to find what works for you. But what I have noticed with this is, I don't speak too lightly when we do talk about Kundalini, because it's a very serious subject to me. But still, people's Kundalini is getting turned on through the sun. It's getting turned on through the simple act of evolution. And that can bring energies to you that you might find difficult if you have traumas in your life, blocks in your chakras, and your Kundalini is trying to expand. Wherever those blocks in the chakras are, the Kundalini is going to press on that, and it can actually be quite emotionally painful. Those things are going to come to you, and you'll have to face them again because of this energy that is ongoing. And, I think it's contrary to popular belief, but some people think the Kundalini just goes once in your lifetime. But from what I have seen and experienced, it's like an onion. It's like unwrapping an onion all through your life. So you have this energy once it gets going. You have it, and it's like kindling a fire. It's like taking care of a fire. You can take care of it. You can work on it. You can grow it. But the most important thing you need to do is work on those traumas, because those are the things that can make people spin out.
Yeah, and again, it is a fractal universe. And when we talk about fractal, you can see the patterns of the whole contained in the individual. And so when we look at, the Schumann resonance, I would recommend, and I'll put the link to heartmath.org that people check out. HeartMath, if they haven't. The heart field, an electromagnetic field produced through the heart that can be detected several feet from the individual. Many believe that the conscious awareness originates in the brain alone. And no, it doesn't originate in the body even. So, but this is talking about the heart's field, and the fact that the heart's field is much more powerful than the brain. But consciousness doesn't originate from heart or brain. Consciousness is part of the universal field of consciousness in which we are all individual drops in the ocean of consciousness itself. That's the great reveal. That's the biggest mystery, quote unquote, that there is. What you're seeing, like with the Schumann, and as the Schumann is going up and becoming more and more powerful, what's that telling us? It's telling us we're saying bye-bye to the lower vibrational ages. We are increasing. And when we get up to the golden age, the Satya Yuga, what this is about is this is truly a very high frequency. It's an age in which we are much different beings than we are at this point in time.
We really are. And we channel most of our information through our heart chakra. And as that expands, you might notice that you're having difficulty with your tablets, you're having difficulty with the computers. You go to the store to pay for something and, the machine breaks down. And it might be like this ongoing problem. And that's because our energy fields and the AI, well, they're not really getting along at all. Our energy bodies are getting stronger, and they're very, very, very incompatible. And this is what we talk about when we talk about the great separation. It's going to happen all on its own.
Yes. So the Schumann resonance power graph, and they have their own live data sets, which are down at this point in time. Over at HeartMath, it's a summary of all it's a summary, and it illustrates the dynamic changes occurring in the Schumann resonance region of the magnetic field. And again, we are bioelectromagnetic beings. And when you see lightning is life. It's so condensed and so intense that it can be extremely destructive. And boy, we've had intense storms lately, as I know many have.
Serious stuff.
This is a PDF that you could read into over there. And again, we don't feel this is the be-all, end-all. It's a good starting place. But yeah, even in this from HeartMath, there's many different perspectives that could be improved upon and elaborated upon, because it is coming from a scientific point of view, and science in a dark age has not been the be-all, end-all. We could learn more from the mystics that have given us true wisdom and handed it down from the golden age and the silver age, and learn more than what science has given us in these ages, in the Kali Yuga, and then the beginning and the end of the Bronze Age, the previous Bronze Age. But it does have a lot of it right. It does have a lot of fascinating stuff that will give you a better perception about how things really, really work. But again, we ourselves are units of consciousness. And a good meditation for you is, you can say, who am I? Who am I? You can meditate on who am I. You might be better off meditating on what am I really?
Indeed, either one.
Yeah, either one. And, when we look to ourselves, yes, we have these chakras, and, they do. And it's not coincidence that they look like hurricanes or tornadoes. Again, this is reflective in nature. And when we see storms on the Earth's surface, they're cleaning. They're drawing energy into areas to help clean. And so when we have massive hurricanes again, yes, technology can be involved to steer and to amplify, or to also try to weaken these storms. But they are a natural way in which the planet cleans itself. And these chakras, as you can see, they're front and back as far as the main ones here along the torso. And then we have the crown chakra up here, third eye chakra, front and back, throat, the heart, solar plexus, sacral, and then the root chakra. These are truly interdimensional gateways. This is really, really what they are. And, they are another thing that points to the fact that we are multidimensional beings. We have our own energy fields. And when we meet somebody that we are syncing with, our chakras can line up. They can line up in different parts. They might not line up everywhere. If we're having an encounter that maybe is more physically based, just attraction based, you might find the sacral chakras line up. You might have other chakras line up. But if you truly have that relationship that hits on every single level and you have all the chakras lining up, then you actually have the potential for consciousness expansion and also incredible healing that you can bring to each other when you are connected with somebody on that type of basis.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that takes an incredible amount of understanding for one another too, because a lot of people at this point in their life, they've been through so much trauma. But you really can help one another heal through the trauma. You just have to be careful to find someone who's you're definitely compatible with, and you find out about that compatibility over the long term. But these chakras are really curious because through our lives, we might have certain traumas, and these chakras, they pull in information, and depending on the trauma, they might block certain kinds of information from coming in so that you can protect yourself. Basically, it's a way to protect little me here in the 3D. And when you block information, well, then you're also blocking other things that can be coming to you. But then, you're blocking it from trauma and it's subconscious. But there are ways to, if you're ready, if you think you're emotionally ready, to remove these blocks from your chakras and go ahead and allow for these energies to come to you and finally resolve themselves in a way that makes things natural so expansion can happen.
And again, there's so many different layers to our energy body. Some very, very gifted psychics have seen as many as 14 different layers. The reality is they're probably almost infinite, if not infinite. We are, again, consciousness itself having a temporary experience in these heavier, denser vehicles. This is not our natural state. This is when we're going to school, and this is when we're doing our learning and our growth, and that's really what this is intended for. And our consciousness can shift to the different layers of the energy body, and we can most definitely experience many different worlds, many different creations. I was telling Cindy what I was picking up was related, this afternoon was related to a technique called pore breathing, which is where you consciously draw the life force in all along the surface of the skin and also through the major chakras. There are actually hundreds, if not thousands, of chakras in the body. And I said to her, it is something I got that we can also, it's a reflection of a practice that we can do when we're not in the physical body, in drawing the ether, drawing the Akash, drawing the life force into our energy field as well, just through conscious intent. And it was interesting because the guides came through and said, if you can, envision yourself in space and draw in that energy from being out in space. Now, space is not what we think it is. And so, again, space is not an empty void. Space is just an ocean of potential.
Going to space and then pour breathing this information in, you're getting a very pure kind of information that's going to bring a lot of syntropy to your life.
Very, very well said. So we hope you guys find this interesting. As always, we look forward to your questions. Thank you for your support over on Patreon. Couldn't do it without you guys over there. Also on Ko-Fi, where you could do one-time support or monthly support and become part of the family that way. Check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com, and also you can reach us to set up an appointment at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. And again, we probably about 2 or 3 week wait to get on the schedule for Vedic charts for, again, energy work, spiritual coaching, and even, contacting some of our loved ones that have passed on. All these things are not out of the realm of possibility for anybody, especially when we are getting out of a Kali Yuga. It's the dark age that makes all these things seem impossible. The reality is we are much more than we've been taught.
Indeed.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.